Okay, continuing on and with our history of government and the philosophy of it. Now, who started the end of the Holy Roman Empire that had been there since the 9th century was Martin Luther. Okay, Martin Luther, the founder of the Protestants. He had this ambitious idea to destroy the Catholic Church. He wanted to invade Rome, kill the Pope, and end the Church. And to realize his ambitious plan, he wrote some letters to the German princes, principalities, and said, you don't have to obey the Pope. I mean, why should you obey the Pope? What do you owe to the Pope? What's there between you and the Catholic Church and the Pope and all that? Why should you obey him? Just separate yourself from the Church and do whatever you want. And the German princes liked the idea. Okay, so Martin Luther was the one that initiated and started the separation of not church and state. That came in the 19th century. But the separation of the Catholic Church from the state. Because those princes that separated themselves afterwards, due to the influence of Luther, from the Catholic Church, just became Protestants, and they established a Protestant state. Okay, so now you had two kinds of governments, religious theocratic governments. You had the continuation of the Roman Holy Roman Empire, but it was reduced to the countries like Portugal, Spain, Italy, Austria, and whatever, just a few countries. And then you had the Protestant states, okay? Countries like Holland and Scandinavia and England and whatever, though England was Anglican. But the kings now were the heads of the states, the religious heads of the states. Okay, so you had the Pope, who was the head of the Catholic Church in the Catholic countries, and you had the kings and princes, who were the heads of the religions, the Protestant religions in their country. So you still had theocratic states still in Europe, but with different religions. Right? And that brought on those religious wars of the 17th century. Protestants against Catholics, and Catholics against Protestants, Catholics against Catholics, and whatever, all that, all that confusion and all that sort of thing. Okay. Now, later on, what happened was, dukes and nobles and all that of England, they didn't like this idea of the king having all this power, right? They wanted to share in that power. So they started demanding like a kind of a sort of a Congress, sort of an assembly, whatever, a parliament, okay, where they could share power with the king. And the king didn't like that. He didn't want to share power with anybody. So King James looked in the Bible and he said, no, according to the Bible, I have absolute power that comes from right above, from God to me, Look at Saul and David and Solomon and all these kings of the Old Testament. They were anointed by the prophets. God chose them, you see. So I have divine rights. Right? So my power as king comes directly from God. So to protect himself from anyone that would try to take away his power, the kings, especially King James, who established the theory, said that he ruled by God's power. Right? And he tried to justify himself by that. Okay, but now there came a factor that he was not even expecting that changed the whole of government and politics in the world. That came from St. Robert Bellarmine, the Jesuit cardinal, who initiated the idea of democracy. And I'll tell you that in the next video.